Guys, this is Living Dead Gal, and welcome back to another Sims 4 CAS video. Today I am working on a CAS video for Miss Hell, so I'm giving her an alpha makeover. She's not technically a townie, even though I am putting this as part of my realistic townie series. Essentially, she is only really featured in the trailer for the Vampires game pack, where she is seen as being first turned by Vlad, and then she ends up being the one to turn Caleb into a vampire. So again, technically she's not a townie. She's really only featured in the teaser and also on the Maxis gallery, but I wanted to include her in my save file and make her a part of my townies, because it just, after I did the makeovers for Caleb and Lilith and Vlad, it just didn't really feel right to not include her. So I am going to be working on building her a house and getting her set up in Forgotten Hollow. And also I want to apologize, the video starts off a little bit dark. I realized as I was working on her, it's like, why is my background and everything so dark? My reshade was actually turned off, so you'll see kind of a noticeable difference when it changes there at the beginning. But jumping into Miss Hell, which really that's her only name. We don't really know her first name or anything else about her. But she, again, there's not a lot of lore on her. Really all we know is that she was turned by Vlad and she turned Caleb. So with this one, I put a lot less pressure on myself than I had with the other Sims, because with Vlad, Caleb, and Lilith, we do have a little bit more background, a little bit more history, and on top of that, they're townies that we know and love that are kind of in the game. So for Miss Hell, it was kind of fun to just go off of how she was originally styled and kind of create my own interpretation of her, and kind of come up with a backstory for her in my head and who she would be as a character. So for her, most of her traits are really not the greatest traits. She's evil, she hates children, and she's a kleptomaniac. So she kind of has three of the traits that are considered like a little bit more of the flaws versus the good traits. So she definitely would be more of like a villain in a lot of gameplay and storytelling. So when I was making her over, I wanted her to kind of almost have this like evil seductress kind of vibe about her. And one thing I noticed is that the way they've styled her, her human form is drastically different from her vampire form, and I don't love that, because to me the dark form is almost just like them kind of showing the monster side, and their human form is where they're hiding that. And I don't really like to change their hairstyle and the clothing that they're wearing when they do that, because to me they're sort of transferring in from their human disguise to their dark form, mostly when they're feeding on other Sims. So it's kind of weird that it would just be so drastically different. So on top of that, I really wanted to kind of find a middle ground for her style, because she's got this very edgy, very badass look for her vampire form. She's got the mohawk, but then for her human form, she's very just kind of traditional, very simple, not like overly conservative or anything, but just a very simple, basic style to her. And so I wanted to kind of combine a little bit of those two. So I didn't end up going with a mohawk for her, but I went for this sort of slicked back, more edgy style. I did a lot of makeup with her for every look. I figured she'd be very made up most of the time. And I gave her a lot of more sort of sexy clothes, and a lot more. She is in that sort of theme that I've been doing with all the vampires, where she's got the dark colors, the reds, grays, and blacks. But she's just got a little bit more of a edge to her, I think, than any of the other three that I've done so far. And as I was working on her, I really didn't have to tweak a whole lot of her actual structure. This sim is actually a really well made sim. By Maxis. I mean, she's got an excellent base. She is the only one, I think, out of all of them that I didn't tweak a single thing on her face. Really, it was just adding skin details that kind of changed the look, but I didn't change any of the structure. The only thing I changed as far as bone structure was her body. I just tweaked it with a preset to be a little bit more natural. a lot of times with Sims, they tend to like have their boobs up to like their chin almost, and that just doesn't really look natural. So I did a little bit of tweaking there, but that was really it. For the most part, I kept her exactly as she was, just kind of adding my alpha CC to make her a bit more realistic. And I'm pretty happy with how she turned out, and I'm kind of excited to build a house for her and get her kind of into my vampires gameplay. I kind of have a little story idea of background for her with Caleb and Lilith and Vlad that I might end up just doing some posts on my Tumblr about. And I don't know, I was kind of excited as I was working through her. Again, you know, she's not the greatest sim. She's definitely a very flawed, but I think those sims can be a lot of fun to play with. And she's just, it's very mysterious because we know literally nothing about her other than she's Miss Hell. We don't even know what her first name is. So it was kind of fun just creating a look and a style and a vibe for her, kind of like as I went with it, instead of really knowing a whole lot of backstory on her and really having an idea in mind. It was kind of more me putting her look together as I was going through my CC and kind of referencing back to some screenshots I had taken of the original Maxis version of her. So as you can see, I was just doing multiple different looks on her. I stuck with that sort of dark red and black theme a lot with her. With her hair, I was kind of torn because in her vampire form, she's got the red mohawk, and then in her human form, she's got like a reddish brown hair. But I ended up kind of sticking with the brown and just kind of picking a color that had more of the red undertone. So versus like, I think there was another swatch that was just a darker brown, but this one I thought looked like it had a bit more of a red tint to it. And I kind of stuck with that so that that would sort of be her theme. And then in picking out all of the rest of her outfits, I kind of vibe off of that sort of idea, that sort of like red and brown and black look. And I ended up really liking each of the outfits that I found for her. I absolutely love her formal wear. I thought this gown from Sifix was so cool. It just reminds me of like a bat, I think, because of the way the design is around like the chest area. I thought that was really pretty. And I also had a lot of fun just kind of doing her makeup because I got to go really, really heavy on the makeup with her because I thought it was just something that suited her personality and would work really well with her. So yeah, as far as working on her, you know, I really didn't have too much else as far as like a story that I wanted for her. Again, it was just kind of looking for that sort of edgy piece and kind of melding the style of the base human sim that she was with that sort of vampire form that they showcased, and kind of thinking of her almost as like a villain in this story, since Caleb and Lilith are sort of meant to be the vampires who want to be good vampires and try not to feed off of humans. You know, Miss Hell and Vlad are more of the murderous vampires who don't have a problem feeding off of other sims and turning other sims into vampires. So it was kind of cool going from making Caleb and Lilith and making them sort of the good vampires who struggle between their humanity and their vampire instincts, to then doing Vlad and now Miss Hell, who are sort of the villains of the story. So that was kind of fun to do them all sort of like in one good chunk at a time. But yeah, as far as this goes, I don't have too much else to really cover in this voiceover. We're getting somewhat close to the end of the video, so I'm probably going to wrap with the voiceover here. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you like this type of content, if you like how Miss Hell turned out, please give me a little thumbs up or comment down below. If you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel, and you can catch up on some of my other Townie makeovers in this series. This will all be on one playlist, and so far I've done Caleb, Lilith, and Vlad, so you can feel free to catch up on all of those if you subscribe to my channel. And that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. So thank you again for watching. I hope you all are having a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
as cold-hearted as they come. You think I'm slowly, no, 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 cutting my ties with you, that I'm done. But I'm not done with you. But I'm not done with you. I'm gonna call you up in the name of love. Gonna call you up and tell you that I'm not giving up in the name of love. I'm not giving up yet on you. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love.
I was told it was urgent, come see me tonight. In the circle we're flirting, and we danced for hours. She knew that she had me, but I didn't realize I'm sleeping with a vampire. Got lost in the city when we drove through the night. Stopped by in an alley, and she kissed me wild. She knew that she had me, but I didn't see it now. I'm sleeping with a vampire. The morning has come, she's always gone. She will call me when she's run out of young blood, of young blood. She hates to see me fall. That's why she leaves at sunrise, at sunrise. Just when morning has come, she's always gone. Oh, I'm sleeping with a vampire. She knew I was waiting through months and pain. The one day she texted me at 12 a.m.